Hey everyone, Dr. Rowe coming to you from SpineCare in St. Joseph, Michigan. So are you dealing with a really locked up wrist where it feels like it just needs to be popped or cracked? Well, in this video, I'm going to show 4 easy methods to open up and reset the wrist and hopefully give a lot of relief. A note about the methods, each one works just a little bit differently. You may find some work, some don't work at all. So to get the best results, go through them all and use what gives you the most relief. With that being said, let's get started. This is called the wrist whip method, and what we're going to do first is focus on finding our contact point. So have your palm facing towards you, make a fist, and then bring your fist back towards you. What you're going to notice is a line forms right here that goes into the palm. This is where the median nerve travels into the carpal tunnel, and when you have a lot of pressure around the wrist, what can happen is irritation will form around that median nerve, leading to numbness, tingling, and even muscle weakness right into this area. This is known as carpal tunnel syndrome. So what we're going to do to relieve pressure in here is to pretty much try to self-pop or adjust a carpal bone called the lunate. So what I'm going to do is pretty much just stabilize this area right here with one of my fingers. I like to use my index finger and just kind of press in there a little bit. From there, I'm going to go and flip my hand over, and pretty much just like a straight line from the carpal tunnel area, we're just going to take our thumb and press right here on the top of the wrist. What you want to do is just kind of press into this area until you find a little bit of a divot. It should kind of feel like a little bit of a hole, I should say. At this point, this is where we're going to make a contact to find the lunate. So I just like to press my thumb in that area, and then I just move my wrist up and down just like this. And you can move it from side to side too. What you should start to feel is a clunking sensation, almost like a pebble rolling around. That would be the lunate, and that's the one that we're going to try to self-pop. So if you don't find it, and I do think that this is the hardest part about this method, I would just keep moving the wrist around a little bit differently and repositioning your fingers until you find that contact point. So once we do find the lunate and we have a very good contact, what I want to do is make sure that I have everything stabilized below. I'm going to press into that area, make sure that that's clunking really well, and now we're going to add in a traction or a pulling motion to really open up the wrist. So what you want to do is pretty much take your arm and elbow and pull it that way while your hand pulls your hand in the opposite direction. So you should feel a very gentle stretch forming in your wrist. Once you feel that, you're going to hold this and now do a wrist whipping motion. So imagine your hand right here. This bottom finger is going to roll forward while you're taking your thumb and kind of whipping it forward, pressing down on that lunate to really deepen that clunking sound. So what I'm going to do, pull on that and then just whip into it really quickly, just like this. Actually, mine just went right there. So when you do this, if that lunate is misplaced, what you can notice is you'll have a big release, like a big pop or a crack even. At that point, see how it feels, because if you start to notice more warmth coming in, more sensation, or you just have a lot more pain-free range of motion into the wrist, the odds are you did have a lunate issue. So this is just a really easy method to be able to release pressure around the wrist. So one of the absolute easiest and safest ways to be able to self-pop or crack the wrist is by doing a light pulling motion into it known as traction. So for this one, we need a flat elevated surface like a table or a desk. You're just going to place your forearm on the table or the desk, and your wrist is going to be directly off. What you want to do is almost create like a nice 90-degree angle from your hand into the wrist right here. So just kind of reach towards the floor with your fingers. It should already start to feel like there's a little bit of a tension being built into the wrist, but this is how we're really going to take it to the next level. What I like to do is grab my index and middle fingers and just kind of clamp down on them. So what I'm going to do is make sure that my forearm is stable. It's not going to slip forward like this. It's like a solid anchor point. Instead, all movement is going to get pulled by those 2 fingers straight down towards the floor. And if that wrist is locked up and something is out of place, even just a little bit of a pull can open up that wrist to give that satisfying self-pop, crack, or release. But just go towards a comfortable stretch, not to the point of any pain or discomfort. Try to hold this for about 5 seconds, release it, and then repeat this about 5 to 10 times. And with each repetition, just try to increase that traction a little bit. It may take a couple repetitions until finally that pressure releases and you get that pop that you're looking for, but just don't try to force it. If you would like to take this one to even the next level, what you can do is start to add in some more motions. So what I like to do is kind of add in that traction and then kind of like a windshield wiper, go from side to side. It's going to help open up the joints of the wrist a little bit more, and you may find that it will finally give that pop that you're looking for. This is called the wrist circle method. Take your thumb and reach towards your pinky as much as you can until you feel a really deep stretch forming on the outside of the thumb working towards the wrist. Once you feel that, you're now going to cup around your thumb with your fingers. Now, just like a 360-degree exercise, we're going to make circles with our wrist, moving in all directions. So you're going to go in, out, up, and down. As you do this, you're probably going to notice that one certain movement, like right here for me, and I don't know if you can hear it over the microphone, it causes a lot of clicking. Maybe it even causes a sensation of achiness or pain. At that point, we want to pretty much build into that movement, but pinpoint it at the same time. So I just keep doing that, feeling for that clunking motion around the wrist. And then I'm going to take my thumb and just press right into that area and take my other finger, my index finger, and clamp right above. And at that point, I just try to isolate whatever bone might be clicking in there. So for me, it's right here. So what I'm going to do is build into that movement over and over again while also turning my fingers like this, kind of like a rolling motion. What this will do is put a lot of joint motion in there and hopefully get that carpal bone to reset and get rid of that clicking sensation. So just keep building into that movement over and over again and switch over as many different spots as needed. This is what I call the wrist opening stretch, and it is a deep one that may end in a satisfying self-pop in the wrist. Take your palm and press it down into a table or a desk. With this one, we want to make sure that our hand does not slip or slide, so treat it like a suction cup. You're just going to press down and then hold it. From here, we're going to open up and spread our fingers as much as we can until we feel a light stretch forming throughout our hand, working into our wrist. So once we've done that, we're now going to take the webbing portion of our other hand in between our thumb and our index finger and grip right around the bony area of the wrist. Just get a really good grip in there and just lightly press down with your hand also. So the next thing that we're going to do is straighten our elbow on this side that we're focusing on popping. You want to pretty much take this area from your arm up to your elbow and lean it straight forward in line with your fingers. So just kind of lean forward with your body weight. As you lean forward, you're going to feel a deep, intense stretch form over the wrist. And if it is locked up, you might get that satisfying self-pop, crack, or release. But don't try to force it. Instead, focus on a deep stretch. Hold this for about 3 to 5 seconds, release it, and then repeat this 5 to 10 times. And with each repetition, try to build into it a little bit more. Afterwards, see how it feels. If it feels pretty good, you're good to go. But if you would like to take this one to the next level, you can start to focus on some more movements to open up the wrist a little bit more. So let's flip our hand over like a pancake and then repeat this. Again, make sure that your elbow goes straight forward like this. Again, you're just going to notice it opens up the wrist a little bit differently. So give that one a try. You can also experiment with different positions of the hand. So instead of keeping your fingers straight forward, turn your hand slightly inward like this and then repeat. Again, elbow goes straight forward. You're just going to notice, again, it hits the wrist a little bit differently. So go inward as much as you can and also outward. And if any of those positions offer a little bit better results, at that point, I would keep building into that movement over and over again until everything is nice and loose. If the exercises help, please support the channel by giving this video a like and maybe subscribing too. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.